Well, to be honest with you, Brian, a nice pint is just what I'm going to have when I finish filming this ship, mate. We go up to the shipwreck public house. When I get to the shipwreck public house, I shall have a pint of something tasty. There you go. I'm not sure where the main engine noise is coming from. I hope you can hear the engine noise. I certainly can over here. I think it's the ship's main engines. I'm not sure whether it's the tugs or not. I don't think it's the tugs. They're not usually that noisy. So I think it's MSC Rosa M's main engine. So just inside of it, i.e. between the ship and the quay, there's a Svitzer Deben, and as you can see astern over, you can see actually it's a Svitzer Kent. There she is. Svitzer Kent is astern, and they run. Oh, she's come out now. The Deben has popped out of the bow as well, so you can see both the tugs, although not in the same shot. Interesting and unusual one, because the graphic on Marine Traffic shows her bow as being where her stern is. So that's quite entertaining. Her bow is closest into the her bow. Oh, it's completely backhanded. Yeah, tell us back to front. Never mind. Looks as if her bow is closest in anyway to the quay, and her stern is hanging out. But looks like the Kent is going to help her get her stern in now. I think the Deben is moving up to give her a push in. Probably going to go on the quarter by the look of it. So I should guess she's using her bow thrusters. She's also got her engine going. Just show you a bit of prop wash now. You should just be able to see a little bit of prop wash, and she's going ahead to stop her sternwards motion. So the tug you can see at the moment is the Deben. She's pushing Rosa M's stern in towards the quay, and I guess that Rosa M is using her own bow thrusters to get her bow in. clear on what Deben is actually doing, sorry, Kent is actually doing. Oh, we've actually got a bit of sunshine here now at shot it. We'll open up the shot a bit. Get that tugs in nicely. There you go, so you've got the quarter of I love it. Let's get rid of that. We'll just get back to there. So young Clive is watching from Rye Harbour. I like Rye a lot, very lovely place, isn't it? It's a bit touristy at times, but there you go. And then Brian says, I'd love to sit on one of those tugs. Well, if you go back to my old channel, Brian, that's the old Shipping TV on YouTube, you'll find some video I shot on those tugs. Going back 4 or 5 years ago now, 5 or 6 years ago in fact, and gives you a good insight, I hope, into how tugs work and what they do. Well, it's turned into a glorious afternoon, and I have to say that I'm standing here seriously warm. You're actually on holiday. What a life you live, that Clive. I hope you have a very enjoyable one. I don't know whether you can just see, but the ship has just started to kick ahead now to move to, I guess, a slightly forward position of where she is. She won't go very far ahead. She looks as if she's more or less stopped in the water anyway. She's not going anywhere now. And the tugs are more or less stopped as well. That's an interesting one. Perhaps they've decided to let me run out of battery. But we're good, I think. And she's a lot straighter now to the quay as what she was. Got her stern in nicely. And it won't be many minutes before they're getting the first ropes ashore. don't know whether you can see this. Can you? No, you can't. Too much sunshine, I'm afraid. And the tugs are just moving very gently in towards the quay. Looks like she's still moving very slightly astern, not very much. So it looks like the Deben is doing all the work, and looks like the Kent is just really standing off for the moment. Yep, she's definitely creeping in towards the quay. It's interesting because the keynote on all of this kind of thing is safety. Safety for the ship, safety for the guys on deck, safety for the tugs. And the whole manoeuvre is done very carefully, very precisely, very gently and pretty slowly. There is no rush. She's going to be here for 2 or 3 days. So 20 minutes making sure everything goes properly and she's in exactly the position she's required in. Doesn't really matter. A glass of red indeed. Now I'm going to have a pint of beer in about 20 minutes, I think. Once they've got the first line ashore, we'll quit and go to a pub. As it goes. We have to win some. Just have a closer look at the tugs again. I assume that Deben is just pushing a little bit sideways just to bring its stern in, but not very much. Bear in mind these ships, the tugs rather, have got azimuth thrusters, which means that they can push in any direction. And the ship herself is now going slightly ahead, just what's called a kick ahead, just to move her a little bit, to stop any unwanted sternward motion. And maybe just to move her ahead a little bit. I think she's just gone a tiny touch ahead. I'm trying to judge it, but it's really quite difficult. You have to say that this kind of work is really a work of art. This is 365, 66 metre long ship. A huge machine, 150,000 tons or thereabouts, and she's being manoeuvred with a delicacy to, you know, you really can't believe it. I find it really amazing. Afternoon. Oh, good afternoon, UK ship swatting. Hope you're well, Paul. So they're moved with an amazing delicacy and care. And that whole 150,000 odd tons is basically controlled by the master and or the first officer and the pilot on the bridge as they just bring her in together into the quay. It is a work of art. The tug guys, the tug masters and the tug crews have an equal part to play in that work of art, and the way they do it I think is amazing. And when you see even bigger ships than this, 400 metre long ships coming in, it's seriously impressive. The current biggest ship that we're having in here was the Ever Ace, which sailed yesterday from Felixstowe, and she of course was 235,000 tons gross, which is, as you appreciate, probably absolutely immense. I think you can see now that she's just given another kick ahead, and the tug on the quarter, which is Svitzer Deben, is just pushing a little bit more. Bear in mind that the speed with which these ships come alongside the quay, the sideways speed if you like, has to be very, very limited, because you don't want to break things, you don't want to damage the fenders, you don't want to damage the ship. The whole operation is done really with a huge amount of skill and a huge amount of care. Now, of course, we can't see what's happening on the other side of the ship, but I think she looks pretty close alongside now, and at a guess, I should think it won't be very long until they get the springs onto the bollards ashore. And once they get the springs and the bow and stern ropes on, she'll be secure and ready to start work. She's just come in from Suez. She made 2 stops on her way from the Suez Canal to Felixstowe. Barbaros, which is Turkey, and Sinades, which is Portugal. And quite short stops at those two, I think. Can't see. Never mind. Quite short stops, fairly short. Let's just get a glimpse of that. So she was about a day. She was about a day in Portugal, and let's see, around the same kind of time, around a day in Turkey. So she'll be doing the same thing that she's doing here. It's called container interchange, because they take off loaded containers to come to Britain, and then we get export boxes going out. And at the present moment, most of the export boxes that go out from Felixstowe are empty. Well, no, in fact, Neil, you can still hear the VHF using a maritime and marine VHF transceiver. There's no problem at all. You may not, in fact, use it to broadcast, because the conversations are copyright in inverted commas and private, so you can't really legally play the soundtrack in from there. But you can still hear what they're saying to each other, the instructions to and forth, on VHF, marine band VHF radios with channels. Not sure what channels Felixstowe tugs are on currently. I think it's 10 and 12. Or it used to be 10 and 12. So I think it probably still is. And oh, okay, Neil, I'm glad you got it. But that's the story on that one, and I think we are now in a position to say that one of her lines, certainly one of her stern lines, looks as if it's ashore now. I can just about see it on the monitor, I think. So we'll go back to a full out shot of the ship. And there we go, that's the MSC Rosa M, firmly alongside the quay at Felixstowe. This is Trinity berth 7, and they'll get the cranes down very shortly, and we'll get to work. It's now coming up to 5 to 5, so my guess is that by 5:15 I'll be enjoying a beer in the Shipwreck Public House. And so what I'll say to you now is thank you for watching, if you have been. If you're going to be watching it later, then I hope you enjoy it. And this is Felixstowe Live. I'm Chris, and we will, in the famous words of the poet, see you soon.